of this building was Grand Canyon Airlines. In fact, Trans World Airlines used the building for a brief time as well, because there were flights scheduled into Boulder City, the Boulder City airport, because who on earth wanted to go to Las Vegas anyway in 1935? The building that we restored and placed at the ticketing office, or excuse me, at the museum, was built that year in 1935. After it was decommissioned, it was moved to Arizona Avenue in Boulder City, and the first occupant of the building, first occupants of the building were a black couple, Henry and Ocie Bradley. They were the first African Americans to live in Boulder City, and Ocie was such a valued employee that the man who owned the airline and who was responsible for planning all of the activities related to the airline insisted that Ocie be given the home. And he was, allowed to live in the home. He didn't have ownership of it, but he lived there. Later, when the home was removed from that area, Ocie moved to another location in Boulder City. But we can celebrate the breaking of a barrier in 1935 by this good man who was a remarkable employee who, with his wife, lived in this small little place. And credit to the museum folks. First of all, the guild itself, the Clark County Museum Guild, dollars to pay for the renovation and the establishment of this facility there at the museum. They spent $200,000. We could all take a lesson from that. They imagined that the budget needed to be $250,000. They actually came in under budget. And it is a fun place to go visit. But there is also not just the Grand Canyon Airline exhibit piece of it, but there is a piece of it that is dedicated to the Bradleys. And it's worth seeing. People across the valley need to go out and take a look at this small little place that was really an extremely important place for where a milestone event occurred in the history of the valley and in the history of Boulder City. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gibson. Commissioner Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd also like to provide the board with an update on our temporary structure issue that's been ongoing. Commissioner Gibson and I have met on occasion with Mr. Tarr, Mr. Stevie, and if you recall, last February we adopted some new codes and temporary structures primarily geared towards tents, convention, trade shows, outdoor. It's the entire gamut. But it caught the industry by surprise because it created some adverse impacts, not only on those that put up the tents, but the industry as a whole. So we have been working. I know that Mr. Stevie has, again, done a round of meetings with the various stakeholders. I think, Mr. Tarr, we have a meeting set up for tomorrow to get an update. So the message is we are continuing to work with the industry to mitigate the adverse impacts, at the same time balancing and respecting the fact that there's some new safety codes in place. And we're going to find some middle ground, some common ground. I'm very optimistic about that. Jerry has been good to work with. Randy understands the potential impact on the private sector, and especially this industry. It's become so competitive, the LVCVA and the conventions, and not just the convention center, but our major properties that have very large convention space. So the message is simple: stay with us. We're continuing the dialogue, and again, I'm optimistic, Commissioner Gibson, that we'll get to that common ground.
Thank you for bringing that forward, Commissioner. The one thing that I think is really important is that we need to continue to work together, but while we're doing that, we're not imposing or really enforcing anything that is a dramatic change from the past. We're continuing to work before we fully implement whatever it is that ends up being the final solution. And the industry the employees, so the Teamsters, who are largely those who erect these facilities, all of them need to be fully aware that we're continuing to work on this and nothing has changed yet.
Okay. Commissioner Brown?
And just to echo that, the stakeholders, the Teamsters, Freeman, GES, the convention managers, they haven't been confrontational. They're working with us, and that's appreciated, because instead of battling, we're all in the same room trying to get to the same place.
Okay. So I do have a couple of emerging issues. One, I want to say thank you to our Parks and Rec staff. We had a medical emergency at one of our senior facilities, and I will tell you that our park staff did amazing, stepped up to the task. They were able to save someone's life. And not only that, I called and said, well, I hope you're going to go home. They said, nope, we've got a planned field trip. We're on our way. So if people don't realize how much our staff really put into what they do every day, we have some amazing folks out there. So hopefully at some point I can bring them in and properly recognize them for their stellar efforts. Secondly, Nevada Reading Week is a big deal. In our district, we do a reading contest. Last year, our winners read 496,000 pages in less than 8 days, and we treat them to a barrage of celebrations for reading, because reading's so important. I know last night my granddaughter and I read 162 pages, which I said to the principal, I'm not trying to do it all in one night, but we're well on our way, and we'll be out at our safe key. Yes. Commissioner
Madam Chair, if I may, and perhaps Commissioner Weekly can support me on this. Since our next meeting falls on St. Patty's Day, and this will be the last time I'll be sitting in this chair on St. Patty's Day, could we do something special? Could we maybe denim and green and green beer?
I'm all in for the denim
we'll
and
draw the line
green.
somewhere, but
Why don't we let our cubicle guru organize that for us? Alex. Alex can coordinate. Alex, can you coordinate this green affair for us, please, sir? Could you coordinate this? Come down here, Alex. Come.
Alex, you never say what?
because like during NFR we celebrate the cowboy and the denim, and maybe we could get Alex to
Do a countywide.
Yeah, I've been riding
denim and
Alex
green.
about all of these cubicles near my office, and so he's responsible for noise control down there. But
Yes, sir.
Fortunately, liaisons are pretty cool. But at any rate, Alex, you've just been given some direction. Let me check with the DA's office. Is that okay? All right, thumbs up. Bam.
You say thumbs down, right? Oh, 2 thumbs up.
So,
Okay.
Alex, you're in charge of the whole green affair up here. So
Denim and
Okay.
green.
We'd
across the
like
county.
we'd like to ask you to dress like a leprechaun.
Alex,
I don't have that
I got
outfit.
your back, Alex. You don't have the suit.
Okay.
all right, there you go. Thank
Will
you,
do.
sir.
Thank you,
All right.
Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
Okay, denim and green. I did want to point out one thing, and Mason left, but so last week, I was able to meet with the 3-star General General Pace, who is
41, receive a presentation and discussion from the Las Vegas Township Community Impact Center on the services provided.
okay. Commissioner Sagerblum, you have someone who's going to do a presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Melissa Bowman is going to come here, and with her is this project, which I basically inherited in the middle of my district, is fantastic, and I just like everyone to, both here on the commission and also out there and watching, to hear what we're doing in our district, and also because it is going countywide now.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioners, for having us. I'm Melissa Bowman. I'm the Specialty Courts Coordinator for the Community Court Program at Las Vegas Justice Courts, and this is...
I'm Officer Dave Garris out of Convention Center Area Command for Metro.
So Officer Garris and I have worked together for the past 3 years. In 2017, we started the Community Court Program out of Las Vegas Justice Courts, and it's set up to handle low-level misdemeanor crimes on the Las Vegas Strip Boulevard. So all of these crimes deal with quality of life crimes. So the court is geared in a direction that we're working with the residents, merchants, the churches, the schools. Those are all our stakeholders, as well as the Las Vegas Strip area. But recently we've decided to expand to all of Clark County. So we want to offer these services to everyone in Clark County via the Las Vegas Justice Courts. So what will end up happening at the end of March this year is that all of Las Vegas Justice Court judges will be able to refer anyone with a low-level misdemeanor crime to community court for voluntary participation of services. We're looking at getting birth certificates. We're looking at getting ID. And at the end, everyone that does participate with us, if it's possible, sometimes we do run into some issues with, I don't know, I've had, what is the one? People that are coming from out of the country. So getting documentation for them takes a little bit longer. We have been able to get citizenship documentation from immigration, but it is taking 6 to 9 months. So we will have to extend the program for some people. We just want to give the opportunity to everyone in Clark County. Metro does work very closely with us. They do an outreach once a week. If you want to talk about that, Officer Garris.
Absolutely. First off, thank you. I know I speak loud, so I'll be careful by the mic.
Just tell us who you are.
David Garris, I was a young officer. So to have the opportunity, not only as a senior officer at Convention Center Area Command, but also to be a key component to the program that we have up to this point, has helped me become not only aware of the programs that are out there for our citizens and folks that aren't, but also be able to educate our officers, not only at Convention Center Area Command, but we do an ongoing outreach, which we do every Wednesday. We've been doing it now for since 2015. That outreach is actually in partnership with Help Us Southern Nevada, where we actually go out to the community. We'll actually go out through primarily the Strip area because it is Convention Center. But our program has been mirrored by the MORE program, which is a larger version inside of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. In addition, one of the things is the level of community engagement that we've reached with that. A lot of people now not only have the ability to go to the facility, but to talk to our officers there, just like the Corridor Hope downtown.
So in everything that we're offering, we're definitely taking the time to expand a little bit more than what the traditional court is. The traditional courts are looking at what happened, when it happened, and where it happened. Our court is looking at why it happened and how can we help. So we're definitely geared towards an individual care plan and definitely looking at improving the individual condition of each person that comes into our court. We are also a community center 5 days a week. So we're running court 2 days a week. Judge Rebecca Kern is currently our presiding judge. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Anyone is welcome to come and see court. We do it every Tuesday and Thursday. The community center is open to anyone in the community, and we try and offer the same resources to the people in the community that we offer to our defendants. We just wanted to let everyone know that we're here, we're offering the services, and anything anyone wants to do to assist or come and see, we would be more than happy to do tours and things with you.
Okay, does that complete your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Madam Chair, if I could just follow up. The approach, we're starting to realize that criminal justice, what they're doing, and Justice Bacham is here. Justice the Peace Bacham, who's head of the Justice Courts. Thank you so much for your support on this. But it really is the future, and it's just great to see Justice Courts taking the ball and running with it. And hopefully we can provide you more resources. So if you need things, let us know. I'm sure we're going to have everyone here would be happy to spend millions of dollars on this program.
Commissioners, I just wanted to say one thing, if that's okay, Chairwoman, is that we did, beginning in January, we took the community court program with having a judge from just one. The program is going very well. We have more people committed. I think at my last was our 131 or 135, somewhere in there, participants actually in the program. We expect that to continue to grow. There's been some discussion of perhaps adding a third day to the court out there, having a third day of a judge, which when we get to that point, it will be having, obviously, I'll need to have some additional discussions with all of you regarding that. But we believe that this program, as Commissioner Segerblum stated, we could take this from the one area and take it county-wide as we go forward. It's a very good program. We're very excited about it. Very thankful that we have the community support, that we do have the support from the commission, as well. Judge Kern is doing a great job. She's excited about it. The court did contract, pay for a prosecutor and for a defense attorney out of court funds to be there on Tuesday and Thursday, because although this was a community program, the district attorney's office and the public defender's office weren't able to staff that. So we do pay for contract attorneys right now on Tuesday and Thursday to help facilitate the program. And so far, it's going really well. So thank you all for your commitment. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Started this, really get it off, and I feel like we showcased it over Memorial Day weekend on the strip. And one thing to point out, these are civil fines, not criminal fines, correct? Is that correct?
It's a variance. Yes.
But we try to give civil fines more so than to
Well, we
Commissioner
try to give
Segerlow's
them
point.
community service, get them the services that they need, some classes, some life skills if they need it. And, they do community service, which is very important for them to give back as well.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Nope. So tell Chris, good job.
Criminalizing homeless when they come in. We have a counselor there, the district attorney and the public defender. I watch this in action where they will sit down together with the whoever's been arrested and say, what can we do to help you? What services can we provide? And they will be diverted. So
Alex Ortiz, Clark County. It's a high-level presentation to talk about the 2020 census and the efforts that we as Clark County have been providing to our community. There are several departments within Clark County that are actually a part of this effort. I'm just going to name a few. They're probably the most active of all, but our Department of Administrative Services, Comprehensive Planning, and Public Communications. However, there are others that are also involved in some shape or form. We do have representatives from each of these departments here today as well, so if there's any in-depth discussion or questions you have, they should be able to respond to some of those questions. We also have with us today, as Commissioner Weekly mentioned earlier, we do have some members from the United States Census Bureau. With us today is Senior Partnership Specialist Brian Lee Berman. We also have Veronica Meter, who's a Media Specialist, and Beth Neiman, who is also a Partnership Specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau. A couple of things from the start of the census, at least from receiving information about the census and start filling out your forms. A couple of other things too. The census will decide about $675 billion in federal tax dollars for our communities over the next 10 years or so. And therefore, we need our community to participate and be a part of this, and so that we can try to get every dollar that is afforded to us or is allocated to us. We stand to receive as a state about or over $6 billion each year over the next 10 years as well. After the 2010 census, as you may or may not remember, we actually, because of the population growth in our state, we were allocated an additional seat in Congress. And so therefore, as I understand, I think we're in that same position again in 2020 to possibly be allocated an additional position in Congress. And lastly, for the first time ever, persons will be able to take the census online. Okay? So all that said, what I want to do is start off with a video of what is the census. If I can get to it here. Let's see. There we go. Oh, go ahead. Okay. And this is a video from the U.S. Census Bureau.
What is the 2020 census? Every 10 years, the census records everyone living in this country. It's written in the Constitution and comes in a questionnaire that counts everyone who lives at your address on April 1st. The data can be used to inform funding for services like fire stations, schools, clinics, and representation that affect your community. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
So that's a video that the U.S. Census Bureau has online and is available for folks to see. I also want to show you another video that talks about how to respond to the census. And for some reason, I do not know how to work this clicker here. Cindy, if you could go to the next. No, one second.
Everybody needs to hear that part twice.
That's
it's okay.
right.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about it,
Okay.
Alex?
So the next video basically just talks about how to respond to the census. And as I said earlier, to respond to the census, they'll be online, by mail, or by phone. And so, as I mentioned earlier too, March 12th actually will be the first day to respond to the census, and at that date and time, we will receive a copy. Actually, you see there on your screen, we're going to see this example questionnaire that has 9 questions for the first person that fills it out, that lives at the property on April 1st, and then each other person beyond that would, answer, it's 7 questions about their demographics and who they are there. Okay, there we go. We're back on track. So what's interesting, too, is that because we have such a diverse population in our country and in our state, the census actually has provided 13 different languages or hotline numbers that folks can call and actually have their questions answered. And so there's different languages listed there. 13 different languages. And those lines, as I understand, are open today. So today is the first day that folks can call these numbers and ask for assistance. I hate to say this, but this is another video, and this talks about the census takers in our neighborhoods. And if we will try to run that one as well for you. It talks a little bit about the census takers in our neighborhoods, and I know that during the April 2019 meeting that the census representative was here, I think our board had some concerns and questions about the census takers. And so I just want to run this video for you because I think it will answer some of those questions that you had back then.
The Census Bureau employs field reps in all 50 states and Puerto Rico who work locally and are members of your community. They are knowledgeable and respectful of your time and provide a customer service or as pleasant as possible. With over 7,000 field reps nationwide, they are the true backbone of the Census Bureau. The answers you provide help decision makers determine the best use of funding in communities like yours for things like schools, emergency services, housing, and infrastructure. Your answers help shape the future of the nation. To confirm the validity of a Census Bureau field representative, the staff search feature on the Census Bureau website is a quick and easy way to do so. All field representatives are required to carry Bureau-issued photo identification and are required to show it before any interview begins. All information collected by our field and protected from disclosure under penalty of federal law. If you are visited by one of our field representatives, please take the time to complete the survey. Your community is counting on it.
Okay, so the next slide that we have talks about, as I mentioned earlier, our state is in a position to receive over $6 billion per year over the next decade. And the next slide talks about some of those dollars and where they could be allocated within our state. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about our efforts here at Clark County and what we're doing and we have done to reach out to our constituency. So information sharing. So as you see on this slide here, actually since 2019, we have been monitoring the U.S. Census Bureau's website. We have been emailing to your respective offices and also to our respective front desks, at least on the 6th floor, information about the census. So then they are able to respond to some questions as folks come to the front desk, but also you, as you go out in your communities and talk to your constituents, are able to respond. And you can also put this information, as I know a few of you have, on your respective social media. Channel 4 and through our YouTube channel on Channel 4. We have some PSAs there that we have put together, that our public communications team has put together, and is also broadcasting. In addition to that, Yolanda, our county manager, will be providing we'll be sending out an email to all of our county employees on or about March 12th to talk about the importance of the census and taking the census. And I know Mason was here earlier, so he's doing something similar for his employees over at UMC. Roll, please. I have one more video here that I want to. I do have to show at least our PSA, right? You're welcome.
You're fired from the Green Day for sure.
March 12th, every household across America will be asked to take the 2020 census.
Whether you're new to Nevada or natives like us, everyone needs to be counted.
States receive billions in federal funding from census data collected every 10 years.
Every dollar Nevada gets helps Clark County serve our growing population.
It's money for schools, roads, health care, and other needs.
It also gives us the seats we deserve in Washington.
Let's get our fair share, Nevada.
Let's get our fair share, Nevada. That is the end of my presentation. No, actually. We'll go. Okay, so we'll continue. So if you look at our next slide here, talks about our social media. I briefly mentioned it earlier. And we do have our social media team has done a great job of posting some information on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page, Instagram, next to our YouTube. This is just some of those examples that they put up. Also, we've provided some flyers and sent them out to all of our facilities, at least the facility managers within those facilities. So they can post some of these flyers throughout their buildings. What you see here is an example of a version in English, one in Tagalog, and then another one in Spanish. And then for our rural communities, on the right side of that slide there, you will see another flyer that's been provided also for our rural communities and our outlying justice courts as well. Another effort we're putting forth is to change our landing page. So when you come here on our property and you sign in as a guest onto our the U.S. Census 2020 Census.gov landing page, so folks could then see and also be reminded again about the U.S. Census.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes,
so
sir.
What if they don't want that? They want to go look up something on the assessor's website or something else. How do they get back to the site they want to go to?
Yes, sir. As I believe I understand this, what will happen is they could go up to the address line up at the top and then type in ClarkCountyNV.gov. But the plan is to have at least this page pop up for them. So we could consider, I don't know that we could do something different per se, but I think they would be able to go back to, or at least select ClarkCountyNV.gov in the address bar and then go to our web page. Are you concerned that the 2020 Census.gov landing page there, that will become our landing page? But anybody outside of our network could go right to our web page at ClarkCountyNV.gov. Okay. So our next slide here talks about census ambassadors, and those are Clark County employees. Mr. Berman here has done numerous trainings and more recently did one at Las Vegas Justice Court last week. So that's a picture there of that participation and of him speaking with those folks. So we're calling our county employees our census ambassadors, so they can go out in the community and also where they are during their workday and talk about, or have asked at least, talk about the census and the importance of that. Also, one of the things that Department of Juvenile Justice Services also filmed one of the trainings that was provided to our employees. So that's also available through what we call our internal network, at least through Success Factors, for employees to look at as well. We're also coordinating efforts with the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition. This is an effort that our public communications team is working with their consultant. And the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Coalition, through their consultant, has created the Win the Census campaign and materials. They've built a coalition of over 50 community partners with this effort, and they're coordinating efforts with our Clark County Public, our Comprehensive Planning Department, and also public communications folks. For our residents on some of the facilities outside. But I think we could definitely talk to them to see if there's maybe another opportunity further broader in our community so we can try to capture some more resident
Okay. And the only reason why I asked, because when I look up at Craig and Allen in that area there, we have the Silva Mesa Community Center there. I know that's North Las Vegas, but this is where Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Kirkpatrick and I border here. We have a huge constituency base there. This Cary Avenue area over here, Pearson Center, where there's a lot of traffic there as well. So I'd be interested in, and they have the space.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll reach out to the city of North Las Vegas for the Silver Mesa, and then we'll...
And then will we talk to Dan Hernandez about adding Pearson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Katie.
Okay,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
any other questions or comments? Thank you for that very, Commissioner Brown.
Thank you. To follow up with Commissioner Weekly's comment, if the city in the northwest part of the valley, if they have a similar map, it would be nice to combine the two. So those residents that are either in the pockets of unincorporated or just general, be able to look. It'd be far more convenient for them to maybe go to something out there than come back down.
Sure. We'll also reach out to the city of Las Vegas and maybe even Henderson as well to talk to them and see what they have available.
And if I may, Brian, how would you answer what are the biggest obstacles for...
I think, Brian Berman, for the record, thank you for the question, Commissioner. I think it's letting folks know both how important the stakes are and how accessible the census is. Right, more than $6.2 billion for needy Nevada families is at stake. Right, we get more federal funding for every person that self-responds. Right, 300,000 people have moved into Clark County since 2010, and our funding levels for all those important federal programs on that terrific slide from Mr. Ortiz have been locked in. Right, so in order to get the funding we need, and we'll probably continue to grow, we need everyone to respond to the census. So I think the first step is we need help letting folks know the stakes. Because I can tell you, my work in the field the last 8 months, it doesn't take me more than a couple of minutes to talk with folks about the stakes, and they're on board. So we can just let folks know. And then number two, how accessible it is. Right, the census is only 9 questions long. You don't need to enroll. Okay, we don't need to wait for the postcard to come in the mail. Starting next Thursday, we can encourage all of our constituents to just go online, 2020census.gov, in 13 languages, and get it filled out in 10 minutes. Okay, if folks are uncomfortable with the computer, we can say, hey, that's that great phone option, right? So I think there's some confusion about enrollment. There's some confusion if it's difficult or if there's a citizenship question like that. So you as terrific public officials, if you can help us get that message out there about the importance and how easy it is. Because some folks are, I don't want, because I think the 2000 census was a little long. I get a lot of questions about that. This one's only 9 questions, right? We can get done in no time. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, Commissioner Weekly.
I highlighted one portion of this where it's kind of competitive, and there are other states out there that are looking for us to not participate. Could you tell the commission here our last census count, the lack of participation that we had, and how that ranked us nationally?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. I unfortunately do not know where we ranked nationally on the state ranking in 2010. I can tell you that, to your greater point, there's $650 billion at stake in federal funding, and it gets allocated based on where people live. So if we don't get our people counted, that money is going to go to Arizona, it's going to go to California, it's going to go to the other communities. And the only way we can get it is to self-respond. And I'm really excited, if I may, about the 2020 effort. That the part
was baffling to me was that one of the populations that...
Please, thank you, Commissioner. That's such a great point. It is so important that we count our children under 5. We estimate that we missed 5 million children nationally in 2010. And here in Clark County, we just cannot afford to do that. In the same way that the census funds Medicaid and SNAP and highway construction based on how many people we report, children programs are funded based on how many children we report to the Census Bureau. I'm talking about programs like foster care, right? Your wonderful foster care program, special needs grants, federal subsidized school lunch, subsidized school breakfast, all SCHIP, all of these are funded based on how many children we report to the Census Bureau every 10 years. And I know all of you care so much about the children in our community, especially our less affluent children. The thing we can do starting next week to make sure that they have enough funding in these programs, not just for 1 year, but for the next 10, is to work with our parents. I know like Reading Week is coming up. This is a wonderful opportunity to talk to children counted. And if I may, I would never suggest what to read during Reading Week, but we have an amazing storybook, Everyone Counts. I read it during a special census event at a Henderson library. It was really fun. I highly recommend it. If you'd like a copy of it for your reading week, please let us know. I will absolutely, Commissioner Jones. Thank you.
I'll try it if you send it, but I want to read it first. Commissioner Sager-Bloom.
Thank you. And just to reiterate, citizenship is not an issue, so anyone who's here should report and complete the census, and it's also totally confidential, so whatever you report is never going to be known by anyone.
Yes,
Hey,
thank you.
you
Really are. If I may, before I leave, I just want to publicly thank you all one more time on behalf of the United States Census Bureau for everything that you've done. You've gone above and beyond any of our expectations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything further? Mr. Ortiz?
No, Madam Chair. Thank you for your time. And I think this is a very important effort for us. And I just want to give that highlight. I do encourage all employees to just participate. And please continue to put that message out of our county. So thank you.
Okay. Sorry, choked up there. Okay, that completes your presentation, Mr. Tar.
Item
Thank you.
43 is to go into closed session. We do not have any closed session items today.
Okay, this is the second time that, okay, seeing no one, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment. Just a reminder, we have our joint meeting with the city on March 11th. Please be there. And anything else? Seeing none, we are in recess until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Our community, our home, Clark County, Nevada. Thanks for watching Clark County Television.
Here in Laughlin, when you think of floating, it's probably about a tube along the Colorado River. But in this town, 90 miles from Las Vegas, it's also part of the regional flood control system. Welcome to the Flood Channel. I'm your host, Jessie Acuna. Although we're 100 miles from Las Vegas, a project here in Laughlin shows us just how far the district goes to protect people and the environment. Casino Drive is the main street through this town of 7,000 people at the southern border of the state. It's the lifeblood of the casino industry here, which draws nearly 2 million visitors each year. But it also floods.
So this project is way out in Laughlin. Our facilities, regional facilities, all are located throughout the county. This is an outlying section. We also have outlying facilities, and it's, for instance, in Indian Springs, in Good Springs, and also like Nelson and Searchlight. So you're right, most of our facilities in the valley are collected in Lake Mead. This is different in such a way that it goes to Colorado River.
As you drive into Laughlin from Las Vegas, you travel down a steep hill, continues over a bridge across the river. The project is connecting box culverts to an existing pipe and taking it under Casino Drive before it hits a small basin designed to slow it down.
It's called a stilling basin, basically, or an energy dissipator, and there is a wall, basically. The water will hit this wall, it slows it down, and then it stops it a little bit. There's like the stilling basin has a wall, and then the water will drop, and then it conveys through that stilling basin to go to the Colorado River. Also, because the area there's rocks and erosion, it is also designed to alleviate that debris going into the Colorado River, so it's designed that way. And as more flows come in, more debris come in through the storm drain facility and through the stilling basin, our maintenance crews will go out there and maintain it every now and then and make sure that the water flows through in an efficient manner through the storm drain facilities, the energy dissipator, stilling basin, into the river.
This $1.7 million project is being constructed by Las Vegas Paving and should be finished at the beginning of 2020. It's a short project with a small stretch of pipe and culvert, but it still required lots of coordination and oversight.
So multiple agencies were involved in constructing this facility because we are adjacent to the Colorado River. Also, to ensure that the water level in the Colorado River is low so that the contractor can build this concrete structure just adjacent to the Colorado River.
The contractor had to consider many factors with this project, including the fluctuating river level as a result of nearby Davis Dam.
So in order for any projects to be constructed, we have a lot of impacts to our environment. The contractor has to ensure that all of the stormwater quality features are in place, their best practice management are in place so that any impacts to the river are minimized and that the contractor maintains and ensures that the Colorado River is in its existing condition.
Most of the channels and washes in the Las Vegas Valley carry stormwater to Lake Mead. This channel in Laughlin is an exception, putting water right into the Colorado. The Stilling Basin will help remove debris from the water before it enters the river, and the project will prevent Laughlin's main road from flooding. It's always a little sunnier and warmer here at the southernmost part of the county. But this year, it seems that sun has taken up all of southern Nevada's weather. Flash floods September, and this year's season was most notable for not having many flash floods. In fact, the summer monsoon became the talk of the town as a non-soon.
The Climate Prediction Center actually had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. They were calling for equal chances, but there was stronger signals for a drier than normal monsoon season, which actually is what occurred. We only had a handful of events the whole summer for Las Vegas and then outside of our area as well. And the only reason why they were calling for equal chances was because there was favored increased tropical activity. So any possible tropical moisture that comes up would lead to possibly 1 or 2 days of above normal precipitation. So that's what the Climate Prediction Center called for, and that's basically what happened. We had a few events where we had increased tropical moisture, but overall it wasn't enough to go into our area and bring us a lot of events in Las Vegas itself. We only had a few, like I said, that were impactful to the Las Vegas area. There was a few times when we had kind of an influence from a southwest flow is what we call it. Basically the steering flow of the atmosphere aloft pushed a lot of that moisture into mainly Phoenix's area and other parts of Arizona. So we only kind of got the edge of that moisture surge, and that did occur in Mojave County, but it didn't get far enough pushed up into the Las Vegas or Clark County area.
Next door in Arizona, the season was the driest in the state's history.
They did a whole analysis of monsoon season and compiled records and precipitation amounts, and it was one of the driest monsoon seasons for the whole state of Arizona.
Nevada has had drier flash flood seasons in the past, but one standout this year was the month of October. No rainfall was recorded anywhere in the Las Vegas Valley for the entire month.
We had an abnormal, really strong, potent low-pressure system come through the last week of October, and that kind of kicked off things for beginning of November and has allowed us to keep in an active weather pattern through the later part of November and then now into early December. And the Climate Prediction Center also calls for that to continue through at least the first half of December, but it's more equal chances for the later half of December. Overall, we're going to see above normal precipitation for December.
Las Vegas is known for being dry. The average yearly rainfall is 4.26 inches. Despite the monsoon, we're crushing the rain totals this year. In early December, we had already passed 6 inches,
which is pretty impressive
It's important to note that even when we're not in flash flood season, any strong rainfall can lead to local flooding. Often our rainfall is influenced by patterns and can bring wetter conditions, while La Niña can lead to drier times. This winter, neither pattern is dominant, but since the start of November, we have seen a cold, active pattern that has brought numerous rain events.
So it's been a very wet year overall, even considering our very dry, abnormally dry monsoon season, and that's primarily attributed to our very wet winter of last year, our wet spring. And then starting out this winter season has contributed to that as well.
We have all seen the devastation that floods can cause to homes and lives in Clark County. Has your neighborhood or home ever been affected by major storms? Federal flood insurance is a smart and cost-effective investment if you think your home is vulnerable. Some easy-to-understand assessments can help determine if you need flood insurance. Call your insurance agent or call 1-888-CALL-FLOOD or visit for guidance. See if flood insurance makes sense for you.
Lake Mead is full of life. A seemingly endless aquatic parade, attracting and sustaining busy desert creatures. It's one of the most diverse ecosystems in Nevada, with species found nowhere else on Earth. But every time soap suds run down your driveway, oil drips in the streets, fertilizer washes off your lawn, or random trash gets swept in our storm sewers, their home gets a little uglier. They get a little sicker. If we don't take simple steps to change our ways, soon you'll wonder where all our friends have gone. To get your home or business lake-friendly certified, visit belakefriendly.com.
Here along the river, the best place to be is on the water. But our virtual reality project is a stark reminder that your vehicle should be nowhere near the water. The Water Always Wins Flash Flood VR experience puts you in the driver's seat of a car that gets swept away by a flash flood. It's not just the strong message that can make heads turn. Recently, the VR experience topped 1 million views on YouTube. The 360-degree film makes it feel as though you are careening out of control as water takes the wheel of your car. It can be viewed in 360 degrees on YouTube and is drawing an audience from around the world. This year, the experience won a Pinnacle Award for Public Service from the Las Vegas chapter of the Public Relations Society. The awards are good recognition of the project. The most important reviews come from the youngsters who watch it. The district has been showing this experience to high school students and young drivers in Las Vegas. We've also shared it with flood agencies in California and students at UNLV and UNR. If you'd like to see it for yourself, you can watch it directly from our website, floodvr.com, or you can find our channel on YouTube at Regional Flood Control District. It's about 115 miles from here in Laughlin to a part of the county that's becoming the busiest part of our current construction program. Let's take a look at those improvements underway in North Las Vegas. From the Beltway, out to the Speedway, and right into the heart of the city, North Las Vegas is undergoing major change. 3 projects just wrapping up total nearly $50 million, and another $50 million in projects are about to start construction or go out to bid.
Really, a lot of this work's happening all kind of in the same area, all at the same time, and it just, when it's all done, we're going to have a much better connected system across the entire area out there.
Projects go from planning into a design stage before a final set of construction plans is created. This often takes years. It's just that right now, 9 projects are coming to the construction phase at or near the same time.
Well, we've always been of the mindset to make sure that we have a complete package when we look at the project and the infrastructure that we're working on. The city has always been really focused on infrastructure as a large part of what we do. Being one of the smaller agencies in the valley, it's been really important to have all of our ducks in a row and to get the support.
And are members of your community. They are not an approach to make your interaction as pleasant as possible. With over 7,000 field reps nationwide, they are the true backbone of the Census Bureau. The answers you provide help decision makers determine the best use of funding in communities like yours for things like schools, emergency services, housing, and infrastructure. Your answers help shape the future of the nation. To confirm the validity of a Census Bureau field representative, the staff search feature on the Census Bureau website is a quick and easy way to do so. All field representatives are required to carry Bureau-issued photo identification and are required to show it before any interview begins. All information collected by our field representatives is strictly confidential and protected from disclosure under penalty of federal law. If you are visited by one of our field reps, your community is counting on it.
Even in the day, a catastrophic leak can be thousands of gallons and cost a lot of money, cost a lot of damage very quickly. So with a device like this, with the auto shutoff, it can shut it off immediately. So there are a lot of benefits, but the biggest benefit is really on the catastrophic side.
The Water Authority offers a rebate for leak detection devices. To receive the rebate, participants must agree to being contacted periodically as part of our research into long-term benefits of these types of devices. Visit us at snwa.com to see program details. If you don't have a smart leak detector, you still can track down phantom leaks lurking in your home. It just takes a bit of research. First, look at your water bill to see if your water usage is unusually high, especially in the winter months when water use is typically lower. Next, turn off all the water to your home and check your water meter. A leak, how?
So if you don't have one of the leak devices that's kind of giving you the information, an easy way to find out if you have a leak is to go to the meter. Basically what you're looking for is movement of the dials on the meter face. And so if you have everything off inside your house and your irrigation, so you think everything is off, right? Nothing's running, and you come out here and then you have a leak of some kind. And then just to kind of understand the meter in a very basic sense, there's a little tiny kind of star-shaped dial. If that's the only thing turning, that means you have a very small leak. So you're talking like maybe a couple gallons in a minute, an hour. I mean, it's really not a lot of water. If you see the longer kind of red dial and you see that moving, then that's like a little bit more. That's like, basically it could be like a gallon every minute. If you see that big dial turning quite a bit, and then actually there's a whole line of numbers, if those numbers are actually turning, then you kind of could have like a catastrophic leak. And I always tell people, that's the thing you should kind of be familiar with is your meter, just to kind of understand how water is flowing and if you kind of have a leak. And then there's a whole process of elimination then to kind of figure out if you say, yes, I do have a leak, but is it inside or outside? And I always say, just go to our website, snwa.com. We have a kind of how-to directions about how you can kind of go through the different parts of your house to figure out where the leak is at.
Irrigation systems are susceptible to. That's why regular checks are vital. The extremes of summer and winter, along with and breaks in both pipes and drip lines, as well as broken sprinklers and emitters. If you can't find the source of the leak but find soggy grass, damp planted areas, or your problem, an underground leak, at that point you may want to consult a professional. Swimming pools are another common source of outdoor leaks, particularly faulty equipment. For example, if your automatic filler is always on, you have a leak. Like toilet valves, autofill valves wear out over time and run continuously. This can cause water waste. If you're unfamiliar with the float system and parts needed to make the repairs, contact a pool service provider to help you stop the leak. Thankfully, most common household leaks, like dripping faucets and running toilets, are relatively easy and inexpensive to fix. Simple repairs and water-smart upgrades can save thousands of gallons of water. To help you test your water fixtures and toilets for leaks, the SNWA offers a free indoor water audit and retrofit kit.
So we offer one kit per household in the Valley. And the kit is actually kind of just a very simple tool to help people if they have some issues inside the house. So in the kit, we have a shower head. So if you think you might have a leaky toilet, you can put dye tablets in and test the toilet. And then we also have a flow bag that you can just contact us at snwa.com or call 258-SAVE, request the kit.
Swimming pools are a great way to escape the Las Vegas summer heat. But if your pool isn't maintained properly, the water will escape before you can. In the hottest months, pools can lose up to 65 gallons of water a day to evaporation. Be water smart and protect your pool with a cover and regular system checks.
typically require thousands of gallons of water to fill, and even more if they're not maintained properly. The key to water-smart pool management is knowing how to maximize your pool's water efficiency as well as its water quality. First and foremost, cover up. Pools can lose up to 4 inches of water a week to evaporation in the blistering summer, and the best way to cut those losses is to purchase and use a pool cover. If all residential pool owners in Las Vegas used a cover, evaporation losses could be reduced by about 40%. That's about 9,500 gallons or more per home each year.
Jared, how much water can a swimming pool lose if left uncovered?
The average pool uses about 20,000 gallons of water when left uncovered due to evaporation. So therefore, a pool cover is a very worthy investment. Not only are we able to cut down on costs as far as heating goes as well.
Ready offers an instant pool cover rebate coupon to help offset the cost of your purchase. You'll save $50 or 50% off the purchase price of a solar pool cover, whichever is less, or $200 or 50% off the purchase of a permanent mechanical pool cover. To date, residents have redeemed nearly 45,000 coupons through the SNWA's pool cover rebate program, saving the community 532 million gallons annually. Customers of SNWA member agencies, including residents in North Las Vegas, Henderson, and Boulder City, may redeem 1 coupon per propua.com, go to a participating retailer to save.
Yes, there are 20 opening moves that are possible. In Go, there are 361. And that's move number 1. Now, there was an artificial intelligence program that did this move, and it's called Go 37. They were playing one of the great masters. And what happened here, and I want to start with this because this is what's different about artificial intelligence. In this game, the computer did something on move 37 that made no sense. It was arguably, at the time, the dumbest thing anybody thought they'd ever seen. The live commentary of Go watchers thought the computer had malfunctioned because it made a move that nobody had ever seen before, and a move that any teacher of Go would have thought a 5-year-old would make and would have beat it out of them because it was so obviously a dumb move. It also freaked out the opponent because he'd never seen it. Turns out that move won the game for the computer and was viewed as a pivotal game changer in the fact that this was artificial intelligence. And I'm going to define artificial intelligence as being